Hello, I'm Elan Carr. For 2 years as U.S. Special Envoy, I helped to lead America's fight against the global scourge of antisemitism. Today, I serve on the Advisory Council of the Combat Antisemitism movement. On July 19th, the Ben & Jerry's Company, a wholly owned subsidiary of the British conglomerate Unilever, announced that it will end its sales of ice cream in the areas of Israel that it regards as, quote, occupied. According to press reports, the areas Ben & Jerry has in mind include Hebron, where Abraham is buried, Bethlehem, where Rachel is buried and Jesus was born, and even the old city of Jerusalem, where the Temple Mount and Western Wall are located, toward which Jews around the world have prayed for millennia. By discriminating against Israel, these companies have chosen to support the so-called BDS campaign, a global anti-Israel campaign that targets Israel with boycotts, divestments, and sanctions. A majority of U.S. states have laws or executive orders penalizing companies that engage in this sort of anti-Israel discrimination. The state of Florida has now begun the process of divesting its pension funds and future contracts from both Ben & Jerry's and Unilever. Other states have also opened divestment procedures against the companies, including New York, Illinois, New Jersey, and Texas. More will follow, and now several store chains are considering dropping Ben & Jerry's products. That's why other companies in the past that have tried their hand at BDS quickly abandoned their discriminatory practices when they learned just how much money they'll lose. We sure hope that Ben & Jerry's and Unilever also come to their senses. But this isn't just about losing money. It's also about right and wrong. Depriving Jewish communities of economic interaction was a common evil in medieval Europe. And as the Nazis came to power in Germany, brown shirts would stand in front of Jewish stores with signs that read, "Kauft nicht bei Juden," do not buy from the Jews. That's what BDS really is. Don't do business with the Jew, namely the one Jew among the countries, which, by the way, is the home to the world's largest Jewish community. For this reason, the U.S. State Department last year, under the leadership of Secretary Mike Pompeo, officially branded the global BDS campaign as a manifestation of anti-Semitism. Current Secretary of State Blinken has reaffirmed America's strong opposition to the BDS campaign. The principle is simple. Hatred of the Jewish state is hatred of the Jewish people, and discrimination against the Jewish state is discrimination against Jews. Now, of course, the Israel haters always try to dress up their anti-Semitism as some kind of social justice activism. Ben & Jerry's did the same in their announcement. But don't be fooled. According to BDS founder Omar Barouti, the object of the BDS campaign is to eliminate the Jewish state. How's that for social justice activism? In fact, accusing Jews of horrific crimes that would justify action against them has been standard operating procedure for anti-Semites throughout history. Today, we shake our heads that anyone could have believed the medieval blood libels of which Jews were accused. But the modern-day blood libels leveled against the Jewish state are no less ridiculous. The State of Israel is a shining example of democracy, human rights, an open and self-critical press, world-changing innovation in medicine, agriculture, and high-tech, and the absorption of immigrants from around the world. But facts don't matter to the haters. They'll accuse Israel of genocide against the Palestinians, despite the fact that in the last 70 years, the Palestinian population in the territories has increased fivefold, and the Arab population in sovereign Israel eightfold. By the way, that's more than the Jewish population in Israel has increased. Some genocide, that is. The haters will accuse Israel of apartheid, despite the fact that the freest Arabs in the Middle East are Israeli Arabs. The freest Arab legislators in the Middle East are Arab members of Knesset, and the freest, most uncensored Arab language press in the Middle East is the Arabic language press in Israel. Israel has had Arab Supreme Court justices, ambassadors, consuls general, and ministers, and an Arab party is currently part of Israel's governing coalition. Some apartheid, that is. The haters will accuse Israel of subjugating the Palestinian population in the territories, despite the fact that 100% of the population in Gaza and over 85% of the Arab population in Judea and Samaria are under Palestinian control. You know who's really subjugating Palestinians? The corrupt, terror-supporting tyrannies of the PLO and Hamas that indoctrinate Palestinian children in hatred while ruining their future. Now, you might be thinking, well, these are examples from the crazy fringe. Would a seemingly respectable American-founded ice cream company engage in this kind of anti-Semitic slander? Sadly, the answer is yes. You don't have to take my word for it. Let me quote from the hate-filled social media posts of the person who, are you ready for this? Chairs Ben & Jerry's board of directors. The Ben & Jerry's board chair attacked President Biden for, quote, condoning war crimes and apartheid, just because the president said that Israel has a right to defend itself from thousands of Hamas rockets fired into its cities. The board chair called on National Geographic to boycott Israeli actress Gal Gadot, who plays Wonder Woman. You can't make this stuff up. The same board chair retweeted contemptible posts, baselessly claiming that Israel is committing genocide by bombing elementary schools, that Israelis are about to storm the Al-Aqsa Mosque, that Palestinians are being lynched on television. All fabrications, of course. The board chair also tweeted posts expressing solidarity with jailed members of the PFLP, a US-designated foreign terrorist organization responsible for murders and hijackings around the world. These aren't the rantings of a college sophomore who just took their intro to critical race theory class. This is the person Ben & Jerry's selected to chair its board of directors. Is it any surprise that the company is now part of the anti-Semitic BDS campaign? Friends, I hope you'll join me in calling on all of our states to divest from Ben & Jerry's and Unilever. And I hope you'll join me in boycotting Ben & Jerry's products. There are a lot of great ice creams out there made by patriotic Americans who embody American values and reject anti-Semitism. Those ice creams won't leave a bad taste in your mouth. Thank you for listening.